Okay. Brilliant. Okay, with that, guys, I'm going to begin with that. Let me share my screen. And today is going to be a little bit right. There'll be a lot of aha or a lot of you will see a lot of technical jargon and words. Please don't get intimidated. Just go with the open mind as well. So as I said, today is day 3, Saturday of 3 days boot camp about how to get a $250 job in AI, data, and cloud in less than 6 months, even as a beginner. And today I'm going to give the complete roadmap based on your background, and then we'll take tons and tons of questions. Please have an open mind. What questions come, keep posting those questions. And Atisha, if you can pick the questions and ask them towards end or each logical point, I'm going to pick you those as well. Thank you very much for introducing yourself. As I said, I'm based in UK, but currently I'm in India for holidays. Came for holiday, but stayed a little bit longer than I need to be. Now, this is what we're going to cover today in terms of a roadmap. And the ultimate objective is to get 250,000 salary. Now, just want to make it very, very clear. If you are below 100,000, you are not going to get directly 250K. Someone will not give you directly 250K. It's possible in certain scenarios, but highly unlikely. So to also want to set expectations right, if we are below 100K, your first, that's the ultimate aim to hit 250, but it will going in a phases. And I'll tell you what you should be doing or ultimately hitting if you want to hit them. So this is what you're going to cover today. We'll give you the complete roadmap of this using cloud, data, AI, ML. I'm going to give you full picture, bigger picture, very bigger. You don't need to do all of them, and I'll give you some tips as well, how you can avoid if you think it's too much. I'll give you some tips as well. But before we move forward, out of these 3 days totally or till now, what is the key takeaway? Just one thing, if you take away from here, what that would be. I would just want everyone to comment. And even if it's no takeaway, just write down in nothing. I just want a genuine opinion. What one thing you've learned, just one thing that you've learned here on, so that I can see. Rahul, don't worry. If you miss past 2 sessions, team will help you. There'll be recording available. You can pick it from there. Also, join the chat WhatsApp community, because I'm going to post after this class. From tomorrow onwards, I'll be sharing some small. There are tons of questions came either in Facebook community or people started sending me one-on-one. Please avoid that. Use the Facebook community. There's a team who will help you out. But then also we got a couple of questions over the email. So I will be picking those questions. Also in the chat window, I'll go through now day 1, day 2, and I'll be posting inside that WhatsApp community. So please join that WhatsApp community as well. So I want everyone to write down what did you learn, one key takeaway. So the question and some couple of feedbacks are, Deepak is saying, understand the job market is big for AI and cloud if you're good in it. Absolutely, Deepak. And people are making tons and tons of money. It's not just me, but I know tons of friends, colleagues, my friends, and also someone who's just very new to IT as well are earning pretty good money, AI cloud, and not just AI cloud, but data as well. But for data, you have to have a little bit of data background if you really want to make it. Entering into cloud or AI without any other knowledge is easy. Data, you need to have some data background as well. Just wanted to make it clear. Sakshi is saying AI is a great future. Learn some good tips on resume making. Brilliant. And LinkedIn profile, brilliant. Resume optimization. So I've only heard 3 guys. I just want a little bit more feedback from everyone else. Today, I'm going to talk about LinkedIn profile as well, if time permits. Otherwise, we'll have a follow-up session during the week, the coming week, about LinkedIn profile as well, especially how to market yourself on LinkedIn. Acquiring the applicable AI skills that have the most demand, which is sustainable. Brilliant. Yes. How AI can be useful for administrator profile. I'm going to talk about that, Mirza. Was it a learning or is the question, Mirza? That's the question I was. Okay. Mirza, we are going to talk about that for administrator, how AI will be useful in that case. Okay. We're going to take away this. Okay. So with that, I think the roadmap for 250,000 job, this is what I was talking about, because this is I have done in and out for last more than 2 or close to 2.5 decades. I started my journey back in 2000 as a database administrator. I was working on Oracle DBA. From there, I worked for 4 or 5 years as the Oracle with company Oracle back in India, Bangalore. Then I moved to 2004, 2005, 2004, early 2004 to UK. And then I was managing Oracle databases, Oracle ERP, Oracle CRM. And then I saw a job coming about security. So I started working on Oracle security. Oracle that time acquired a big companies on security. So I've transitioned to do Oracle security and then moved into worked for 4 or 5 years, written a book. So my background was data, but in 2011-12 I transitioned into cloud, and then 2018-19 I first transitioned to machine learning without realizing that what I'm going into. I was pretty excited with machine learning, but then in 2000, I think 2021, 22, everyone knows then there is a history about generative AI, and AI came. So been we working on this. I know this in and out. And similarly, we are working on DevOps 2000 since 2011, 12. And then these days, MLOps is quite popular. So this is what I'm going to talk about because I know in and out about this. And it's not just me, but hundreds and thousands of other guys who are doing this as well. So this is what the roadmap and path I'm going to talk about. Now, as I said, you can't hit 250 directly. So and again, I want everyone to get involved and tell me which bracket do you fall into or what do you want to achieve so we can go a little bit deeper. And if I see a particular space, then I'll go a little bit deeper on that particular topic as well. So anyone who is below 120, your first objective should be that I should be hitting $10,000 a month salary minimum, 120K. It's totally doable, especially if you're in US, Canada, Europe, those market. And if you're India, on the similar lines, I'm not exactly 120, but on similar lines if you're in Asia, but you understand the point. Now, in order for you to hit 120K, you can pick either any one of them. You can pick cloud, just alone cloud, or just data, or just AI, machine learning, generative AI, or any of these DevOps, AI ops, ML ops, and you can easily hit 120K. Now, plus minus easily, slightly here and there. But your first objective should be 120. This is the goal. And what that is, how we are going to look at in a minute. If you are then, once you hit 180, your next target should be 180, 100 or 200K, that the 180 plus. And for you to hit to 180 plus, companies will not give you just by one skill. You have to have more than one skill. And what I mean by more than one skill is you might be doing cloud, but with cloud, you can do data. Or with cloud, you do AI ML. Or you do AI ML or generative AI with data. Or AI ML with cloud. So combination of two things will give you that weightage. Or you pick end to end on this side and one of this, so that you get you can achieve that kind of a salary. And if you're going above 250, 200, 200 250, these are kind of a leadership roles. You don't need to go way down, very low level, but you need to have a width of experience in terms of you can talk about AI, machine learning, generative AI, sorry, and data, cloud, MLOps, everything end to end from how to implement all these points. So you have to have width of knowledge on all these domains, not a very detailed, deep level, but at least from an understanding point of view. And depending on if you're a solution architect, if you're working as an architect, then you need to have a good understanding of how all these things work together and so on. So is that point clear? Any question on that particular point? How to do that? We're going to go a little bit deeper in a minute. But is that point clear? And put in chat window, which one do you fall into? Which category do you fall into this one, in this? Okay, let me go up. Mariam is saying, I could not join first 2 days. We'll watch this. Okay, friend. Yesterday, 10 minutes, I was able to do this. Okay, there was a, yeah, uh, correct, Srini. There was a, yeah. Rahul, if you can send message to everyone, because then my team can also answer and pick up the questions. I'm in India, hardly reach 50K. I'm not sure. 50K, are you talking about dollars or rupees or what are you doing? Even is saying earn less than 100K. I think even if you learn less than 100K, your first objective should be to hit 120K. In India, what can be the target for 18 years experience? First targets are, so Deepak, now it's entirely down to, I think I know easily, I think around 50 to 60 lakhs you should be aiming towards in India. That is what, if you have that experience in terms of cloud, AI, I think you should be doing, you should be minimum, Deepak. Again, I need to look at your case, what your background is, what have you done, but this is what you should be aiming in my view. Mirza is saying Oracle DB, SQL DB, other DB related profile, earn less than 100K a year. Okay. Links and recording. Okay, fine. We'll pick it. Less than 100K leadership, 150 CAD, leadership, AI strategy roles. Brilliant. Okay. As a beginner, can I aim for 120? Okay, now Satyam, in India, that kind of a salary will be realistic, not possible. Directly as a beginner, no. Answer is no. You need to hit. We need to. This I'm talking about US, Canada, and UK appropriately. Okay. So guys, I'm going to move on and I'll come back to the questions. And I'm going to pick the questions as well. So now this is possible, but what happens is people, they try to achieve, and people work on this model, which is a old model, which is a broken model, versus new model, which is working. So I'll explain you the problem, what happens, and let me know if you're doing that mistake, or let's suppose you are going from job role A. Currently you're on that one particular scale and you have to go and achieve. Take an example of AI. Now, typically, most of the guys, what they do is they say, I'm going to learn AI. They prepare a 6 to 8 months plan, and they learn. And majority of time they keep learning it, and with certification, prepare for certifications. And after 6 months or 6 to 8 months, then they say, now I'm ready. I'll start applying. When they apply, they realize when they started versus what's now in the market have changed completely, because IT and AI and cloud and data, all these things are changing at a very fast pace. And by the time the 6 months happen, they realize, oh, they were not working on the skills which are actually making an impact. And then on that journey, they feel overwhelmed and realize, oh, they need to start again. Or they're applying for the interviews, not getting any interview calls. Or if, as I said, if you get lucky, if you interview, you realize what you learned was nothing, actually was not at all related to what companies are looking for in the job. Is totally different. And then you give up. You think, oh, things are not working. You feel deflated, and then you don't work on actual practical implementation of the job. How many of you guys are feeling or felt like that? You've tried and learning on that, which is on the right old traditional side. And there's nothing wrong. People have done it. I myself have done it in the past, and I used to do it back in 2000 till 2006, 7, 8. 2011, 12, when I was in rush, that's when I started changing. We'll talk about that left hand side approach, which is new and better approach. Put in the chat window if you were one of them as well. I'll be waiting for this traditional style. Have you done that, or how did you learn so far? If you're trying to learn, no one. Okay, looks like cross skills during the work. New. Okay, Mirza, if you've been cross skilling and if you're learning during the work, then it's fine. Yeah. Okay. So from a month ago, I was following the old approach. Yeah, good. So the new approach is that what you should be doing is you should be learning. And when you learn, exactly implement that particular on real time. What I mean by implement real time is you learn, first of all, and we'll see that in a minute on action. What you do is you go to the job market or job portal, see what companies are looking for, prepare a resume based on those concepts and terminologies, even if you don't know everything, and then go and apply for the job thinking you already know about all those things. So in your resume, write everything that an employer is asking with the promise, as I said on day 1 and day 2, that you have done those things, and you promise that on the next probably couple of weeks, you're going to learn all those by actually implementing that. And it's totally doable. It's totally possible. We'll show that in a minute how to achieve that and do that as well. Now, when you go, two things will happen. Either you will not be picked up, your resume will be not picked up, or your resume will be picked up. If your resume is not being picked up, that means you need to work on your resume and you need to work on your LinkedIn profile. And we have already given you some part about resume. I'll tell you about the LinkedIn today, later after this class. Now, if your resume is, if you're now, once you fix your resume and LinkedIn, you'll start getting interview calls. And once you start getting interview calls, you go and prepare for that as based on the hands-on lab, which I'm going to give today, and the project work, which I'm going to tell you what you need to be doing. You go and apply for those particular jobs. Sorry, you go and appear in the interview. And on interview, first interview, second interview, third interview will fail. And then go back and say, that means you have to learn deeper on those things. And maybe by fourth or fifth attempt, you will start realizing where to focus on your learning. And that is what is continuous loop loop back. That is how we're going to learn, and that is what we're going to go deeper on today. So what will advantage will happen is you will fail quickly, but you will learn a lot on that journey. And by the time you appear on 10th or 11th interview, you will start getting, you will start understanding uh, what exactly you need to prepare and how you need to prepare on that particular job. And this is what all going to look at as well. So what did you do? You search for the job, apply for the jobs, prepare for the job, and then learn by implementing those and go for the interview. And then repeat this process till you get clarity, until you start getting confidence. And that is how you get confidence. And as I said, the action brings clarity. So when you start acting, then you will start more and more clear. You will never become confident until and unless you start implementing those things. Does it make sense? Is it all clear to you? Any questions, any doubts in that point? Just say yes or clear or not clear. Just put it in the chat window and say yes, clear or not clear. Clear. Yes, we are going to discuss the technical topics today, Sakshi. Yes, we are. We are. Brilliant. Okay, so brilliant. Okay, so this is what I was talking about. As I said, for this, I've repeated. I'm not going to repeat it again, but maybe from going from not being confident to no interview call or no job offer to being confident to apply. How to become confident? This is what I'm going to show about. I've already covered for multiple interview calls, which was about ATS compliant resume. Today, toward the second half, if time permits, otherwise we'll have a follow-up session on optimizing the LinkedIn, or I'll create a video for you. And then mock interviews, tech behavioral, we'll be sharing some more information coming to you, but then how it's being done, go through day 2 to understand the challenges or problems which are being mentioned by Gokul yesterday and in yesterday's class. So this is what I'm going to talk about today, project-based learning as well. So as I said, first is you need to understand where do you stand, what you need to do, and then work on hands-on lab and the project work. This is very, very important based on the job description. Prepare resume and then mock interviews. And then once you get a job, you repeat this process for every new skill every 6 months or 9 months till the time you hit your target salary, which is 120 or 180 or 250, whatever you want to achieve as well. So this is a process which we're going to go a little bit deeper on this, and we'll come back to this diagram in a minute. So first we're going to look at track, which is all applicable to all tracks, AI, data, and cloud. And this is where I'm going to start technical. I'm going to go a little bit fast, but please interrupt me, ask me the question. Each logical point, I'm going to pick that particular topic as well. Go. So first is for all three track, whether you're working on AI, data, and cloud, you have to begin with cloud concepts. And if you're good at it, fine. You don't need to go deeper, but understand what does cloud actually means. What is CapEx versus OpEx model? Why cloud becoming so popular? Then there is a concept called cloud service model, SaaS, PaaS, IaaS. And then a shared responsibility model, which means who does what, which means what is cloud provider responsibility and what you as a client's responsibility. There's also a public-private hybrid model, which you need to understand. And why you need to understand is because AI, data, and most of these projects are these days implemented on cloud. So when you're implementing, whether you're working as a senior leadership, technical, architect, or roles, you will be somewhere or other will be interacting with the cloud and having the basic concepts clear, because they will underlyingly decide, should you go for IaaS? Should you go for PaaS? Should you go for SaaS? And some services might be you going for SaaS. Some services you might be going for PaaS. Some services you might be going for IaaS. And then also deployment, you might have a mixed and a hybrid. Some services may be on infrastructure services. Public cloud. Some services might be private cloud. Some services might be in a hybrid cloud as well. And similarly, security and all those things revolve around that as well. So cloud is very, very important for every cloud. And any questions, let me know. I'll pick that as well. And with that, as I said, so if you are this track, okay. So for everyone, we'll do the cloud. And then once you've done, I'm now beginning with the top level, which is AI, machine learning, and generative AI, track 1. If you have to pick track 1, first and most important is you have to understand AI project entire life cycle, whatever level you are, whether you're senior leadership, junior, and again, you don't need to go very deep, just an overall understanding about these whole entire development life cycle of an AI project. And who are the stakeholders, who does what on a very high level. And that you can do it in probably a couple of hours. Is more than enough to understand the bigger picture about AI. Because if you understand the bigger picture, then you narrow it down to who does what. And that will give a full clarity. Now, in order for everyone, whatever your role are, senior to junior, everyone should have the basic concepts very, very clear. what is AI actually. And in understand in simple terms, you can explain it to a fifth standard kid what is an AI does in a very simple layman's term. Machine learning, what is generative AI, and then some models and techniques. What is the learning, supervised learning, unsupervised learning in a very simple layman's term, you understand them as well. What is computer vision, generative AI, basic concepts? You have to have the basic understanding of that as well. Also, then you need to understand what exactly generative AI related concepts. What is a foundation model mean? What is LLM, large language model mean? What is a vector database? Why do we need it? What information is stored? Tokens, embeddings, RAG, LangChain, all, like there's a prompt engineering, and within prompt engineering, there are different type of prompt engineering that you do. A one shot, zero shot, chain of thoughts. So basic understanding is everyone should learn conceptually about that as well. So very important for you to. Then what are the different type of foundation models, LLMs, as I was talking earlier, you should be doing, and what exactly actual LLM means. And there are LLMs available. You might have heard Anthropic is there. Every company, big company, have those models now. Who's doing what? Because you'll be leveraging these models in some form or other if you're working on AI, generative AI, machine learning. So the concepts are very important. You also need to understand the RAG. Again, this I'm talking about simple layman's, and later, depending on what role you're playing, you might be going deeper, or you're saying enough on a high level. What is RAG means? You're actually, because you'll be building applications with a custom data. So RAG important. You also need to know LangChain. These are open source LangChain, LangGraph, as I was talking earlier about where they are actually being implemented. You also need to know Agentic AI, which is now hugely popular, hot in market. Like, so you build autonomous systems using agents, AI agents that will be. So they are typically like making decisions on a human-like format with a multi-process workflows as well. So make sure you have idea about agentic AI as well. Now, again, machine learning, you don't need to go deeper, but understand there's some concept of like supervised, unsupervised reinforcement, classifications models. Again, very simple terms. Everyone should know about it. You should also have a good machine learning life cycle on a high level, again, from executive level, what that life cycle, right from the problem, business problem. So when you're going on and presenting the projects, you should be talking about right from business challenge. Because if you've cracked that, if you've understood that, if you talk in that language in the interviews, then interview will understand you have the bigger picture, good picture. So understand what problem that whatever AI machine learning is trying to solve in the organization. And then right from data processing to the data cleansing and other things we'll see in a minute to whole full picture as a talking about. So these are all concepts everyone should know. Now, once you know these basics, then you look at what kind of a job roles you apply. So give it a minute. I'm going to pause this for a minute. Let me know which role do you think fits for you. Is it a chief AI officer, VP of AI ML, product manager, program manager? Is it AI solution architect? Is it data architect? Is it AI architect? Is it a developer, AI machine learning developer, machine learning operations engineer? Now, someone was asking about me as an administrator, what should be doing as if I'm an administrator? So you might be playing a role of AI infrastructure engineer, which means you need to provide infrastructure related services to build and manage and deploy AI based applications. Or I may be working as a machine learning operations engineer, where I'll be working as a ML, managing the models developed by developer, given it to me as an administrator. My role is to build an underlying infrastructure so I can deploy these machine learning models, and then to make sure that they're continuously trained, retrained, and then managed from a security point of view, connectivity point of view, making sure that data is fed properly as well, and so on. I might be playing a role of AI consultant. So let me know which role you'll be playing on here. Uh, AI, AI project manager with cloud. Brilliant, Deepak. AI machine learning manager, program manager, solution architect, AI project manager. Where's my administrator gone now here? So AI product manager, AI solution architect with cloud, AI infrastructure engineer. Brilliant, Mirja. Yes. So I think there's a question, administrators who are saying be as administrator. I hope it's clear to you now. I forgot the name of the person. Okay, good. So now once you've identified what role you're going to play, again, we are not learning everything. You've learned, and this is, I'm giving the shortcut to get a job quickly and within under 6 months. And some people ask me, oh, how long will it take me to get a job? Anything from as early as 4 weeks. People have got job in 4 weeks as well. That doesn't mean that you know everything, but you know enough to survive on the job and you learn on the job. But people have taken longer as well. So I think anything from 4 weeks to could be a 24 weeks as well. It could take up to, depending on how much effort you put in. So I'm giving you the shortcut. You do the basics, and then you identify what job role you are applying to play. Look at some of the terminologies, tasks you do, and then go to the job portal and type the exact job keyword or job role. Once you see, then you look and say what they're asking the job. Make sure you understand these concepts. So if they're asking about platform engineering, what an AI platform engineer means, what is generative AI means, what is LLM means, what is Kubernetes means, what is Rust, all these keywords. Understand enough, you can talk in the interview, and then apply knowledge of AI LLM to practical business problem. So you identify business problem and say what business problem I've solved, or I can show on my resume that I've solved using AI and machine learning for LLM. It could, and that should be tied to the industry where client is coming. So you do research on the client. Is client a telecom industry? Is client a finance background? Is client a public sector? Is client a banking sector, fintech sector? And then show your project based on that particular organization or the background of the company. Also, maybe do similarly, if the company is consulting, then maybe do 1 or 2 different type of projects. Now they're also looking, if you look at, they're looking for CI/CD, MLOps tools. So make sure that you use ML flow, MLOps tool. And again, high level enough you can talk interview so that you start building your confidence. You might fail in the first interview, but you keep doing and repeating this process. Similarly, this is for generative AI. Look for these skills and these skills. Now here in this case, AI vision, they are looking for Azure OpenAI. So OpenAI, ChatGPT, computer vision, Microsoft Azure OpenAI services. Work on some projects related to, I'm going to show you what projects you can do on here. So if you're applying for this, make sure you implement Azure OpenAI, Azure AI Foundry, Azure Machine Learning Studio, as we saw on day one. I'm going to repeat that today here now as well. So far good. I'm assuming now you know what to apply, search for a job, pick up the job and apply for the job. And then we'll talk about different job levels. Is it so far, is it making sense? Put in the chat window, am I making sense? Type yes, word S, yes, put in the chat window. Which job portal? So Sakshi, I have a workbook in the job portal. Depending on your country, go to the workbook. There's a, you'll be applying based on your country. You can pick LinkedIn. You can have, I think there's Indeed, there's a Monster, depending on which country you are. Brilliant. Now we're going to go on, say, if you're applying for leadership roles, senior leadership roles, CTOs, CIOs, executive senior leadership, and a project manager, program manager, make sure that you're pretty good in business AI strategy building, how AI strategies, also business use cases. And then how do you do no code, low code implementation using low code on a high level understanding point of view? How does project lifecycle runs like? So this is in a high level 10-step process about for and practical AI implementation. Go a little bit deeper into those things on for leadership type of roles. Similarly, you should also look for AI for project manager, which means I have an AI project. Assume you're running an AI project. What is right from start to end as a project manager you should be implementing, or program manager? So you need to have a bigger picture, and then each profile that you'll be interacting with. So you'll be working with architects, you'll be working with implementation team, you'll be working with business analysts, you'll be working with actual infrastructure guys, you'll be working with the data team, you'll be working with all CI/CD teams, MLOps team, DevOps team. So you have to have, as a project manager, full picture about this as well. And similarly, if you're working as a product manager, how to implement AI in the product that you're implementing. So that knowledge should be there. If you're working in AI operations, you should have a little bit AI operations. And then if you're again for leadership roles, AI ethics, governance, security, these are very important. So how do you ethically implementation of AI so that it basically, there are a lot of rules are coming about. So make sure you're familiar with those. And then also there's a governance and compliance in terms of GDPR. There are a lot of rules that in specific to countries you are. So in Europe, there might be some different rules, Canada, different rules, US, different rules. So be familiar with, especially in the leadership roles as well that you do. Now, there's a, that's what's first for leadership. We have programs. So there's a inside the program that I'm going to talk about towards end. We have a dedicated, once you understand the basics and go deeper, there's a dedicated module or dedicated section about AI for leaders, AI for executives, where we talk about and we prepare you for interview for leadership roles, project manager roles, program manager roles, and so on. Then comes AI for product managers, program managers, product manager. This is the we do understand the fundamentals, and then how do you do project planning and risk management of a AI powered project, which means you have a requirement came from business. Hey, we want to implement AI. So understand end to end about how do you do scheduling, plan, project plan, right from start to end, the whole process about using the tools that we'll be giving. Also, then you build a project, entire project. You get a whatever you do, like for example, you're doing software development project, you do actual implementation of that, and then you build, you do a project end-to-end implementation of the project, project plan, so that the same project plan can be changed according to if the in the industry that you might be doing, fintech, maybe recruitment, maybe a whatever industry you pick off, and then use tools related to your project management, and then end-to-end project as I was talking about on for this project managers as well. Now, that was for project manager. As I said, I'm going to go fast. If you have any questions, we'll be taking questions in the middle or in the end. Now, next is about architects and uh, senior administrator, senior architect, or senior software development, and so on. So there's a AI architecture design. So end-to-end architecture design on first using maybe one or two cloud providers. So you might put what all AI tools you're going to use in that. So for example, I was just talking about earlier, AI for SageMaker you might be using, or you might be using Microsoft Azure AI Foundry that you might be using, or you might not say, I'm not going to use any cloud provider, I'm going to use open source, third party open source tool that we're going to see in a minute later. So which solutions also, not just alone that, but integrations. And what I mean integrations are from a storage point of view, security point of view, what kind of a compute, which means underlying infrastructure, underlying CPU and memory, which could be your virtual machines, which could be containers and Kubernetes, which could be your um, normal VM chipsets. You maybe another hardware you might be deciding on. So those security of those end-to-end project implementation of that, and then you pick up an industry where you implement that. Industry is very, very important because things change as per the industry. So if it's finance or healthcare or retail or telecom, these are the good paying jobs inside that and that as well. Now, so that's one on for this design, but then also, as I said, integrating them with third-party systems, and then deployment of those models at a very large scale. Sorry, deployment of those, and then implementing CI/CD. So implementation is one part, but these projects keep on improving. The models keep based on the data drift, as well as the situation change based on the data. Those needs to be retrained, as we saw on CI/CD and CT. So how do you implement CI/CD for AI, and then monitoring and management of those parts? So that is what you should be doing as well. So is it all making sense? Put in the chat window. Is it make sense? Any questions you have? I'll pick one or two questions here. I'm again asking, just want to clear on this, being DBA's work for 1 year on Azure. So okay, I'm going to pick that very specific question. I forgot 1 second. My Atisha is picking up. Okay, Sefura Rahman, I'm taking one question. If I have to update my profile 5 times for 5 different jobs, should I update my LinkedIn accordingly? No. Okay, so very good question. Let me repeat the question. Rahman Safir is saying, if I have 5 jobs and 5 resumes, and then should I update my LinkedIn 5 times? No. So LinkedIn should always have the accumulation or superset of everything. So let's suppose you apply job role 1, 2, 3. Make sure that LinkedIn has. Tomorrow you apply 2 more. You don't remove anything from LinkedIn. You keep adding more and more on LinkedIn as far as you do. So you never remove from LinkedIn. Keep adding. Resume should be cleaned up, but LinkedIn can have more details. Rahman, Sefur, is it make sense? Good. Okay. Yes, path provide. Brilliant, Hemant. Okay. Now, Dennis is saying, is it good idea to learn all the different offers from AWS, Azure, Google? So I think 3 might be too much in my view. Begin with 1 or 2. If you're a beginner, then begin with 1. If you know a little bit, or if you want to go, depending on the job role, the salary I was talking about, 3 in my will be too much. 2 should be the good. 1 or 2 should be the good starting point. If you, depending on the background, yeah. Learn all of them will be overwhelming to begin with. 3, 2 should be good. Would we have project management roles still in IT in AI as well? Absolutely, Deepak. Absolutely. Why wouldn't be there? There are a lot of project management roles in AI. So a lot of companies are doing AI implementation and they are looking for project managers. But then project managers should have the AI knowledge, ethics, and a lot of concepts. They should be clear. Absolutely. Yeah. Okay. With that, let's move on to the guys now. So this was talking about then you have this is the whole picture where you have infra, data, and machine learning. So you're implementing in machine learning. You begin with you need to have the underlying infrastructure where which could be your storage, compute, networking, security, and this role will be done by infrastructure engineer, which is cloud engineer. It could be depending on it could be my MLOps engineer, the role that being played. And now on that on that infrastructure, you need to have someone who's exploring the data, which means your data analyst will be exploring. So you need to import the data from different data sources into a lake house or data lake or whatever. And then your data analyst will prepare the data. So as an infrastructure, as a data engineer, you or data ETL engineer, you bring the data provided by on the infrastructure provided by the infrastructure engineer, and then you clean as a data analyst, you clean the data and prepare the data. You hand it over to data engineer to do some more processing, and then you further hand it over to data scientist. For the data scientist will be then developing the models, training them, evaluating, and giving the endpoints and saying, fine, we're happy with this. Then again, MLOps engineer will pick up that model and then redeploy on the on the endpoint of machine learning, whatever engine you decide to do. It could be containers, it could be Kubernetes, it could be VMs, it could be the underlying platform like Azure ML Studio or Azure ML or SageMaker and so on, which we discussed again. Then these models needs to be integrated from security point of view. The storage, networking, all those that model needs, that integration should be should happen as well. And then you have a data. From there, you're picking the data visualization, you bring in the data, useful data out of it, and then again doing data analyst role, and then integrating and business applications using. And here, your different job roles are being picked up. So far, is it clear? Is it making sense, guys? Put in the chat window. Is it all making sense? No. Should Sophia saying should we know the data science before moving to into AI? Not necessary. No, not necessary. Depending on if you're going for a data scientist role, then yes. Otherwise, no, not required. Brilliant. Oh, why my screen is moving? Okay. So now, once you know this, so we were talk about architect and seniors. Now there's a little bit of a oh god. Hold on, guys. What's my screen is moving, playing up. So then you go for fourth is number AI for techies. And when I mean by techies, it could be a developer. It could be someone who goes and develop or go a little bit technical level. And this is where you need to know programming. Python. Again, if you're working as an architect, you still good to have about Python knowledge, but not in terms of coding or programming, but actually understanding what are the libraries, what are the frameworks, what are these means, so that you when you talk in the in the project, or even if you're a project manager, have an idea about what these frameworks do, what these libraries do, and then which one we are going to use, so you can talk in their language of your developers, in the language of architects, in the language of whosoever is using them. You also need to know TensorFlow, Keras. These are different things for building the models, and you'll see them. Also, machine learning algorithms. If you're a techie, go deeper. Now, I'm not going to go deeper here, but if go a little bit deeper on these terminologies if you're coming from a technical background. Now, you also need to know how do you train the model, how do you tune the model, how do you deploy the model on depending on what role you're playing on this here. And now you can use different applications. I was talking about SageMaker, Machine Learning Studio, or you can use REST APIs on and so on as well. Now, once you know these basics are important, then you go on advanced topics like RAG, LangChain I was talking about, and then build generative AI or AI-based applications using Bedrock or AI Foundry on generative AI. So you to know how to build them as well. We'll give you some labs today so that you can see what all you can perform. I'm going to give you very comprehensive. You don't need to do all of them as well. Now, one common mistake I've seen people have done is they try to learn everything. And I was one of them once, that I tried to learn everything at once. You don't need to do all of them. You need to know enough so that you can do one step, that move step. So every step you do is do only the one step to take it to the next level, and to do the next level as well. So don't make mistake of, I'm going to apply once I learn everything. I'm going to do this once I do everything. everything will never finish. It'll continuous learning as well. So make a promise, type word P, that I'm not going to make a mistake of learn everything and then do it. Just type P, word P, promise that I'll I'll take a baby step and we'll do one step at a time, 1 foot forward, they say, the chat window. Just type in the P so that you know, because I've done this mistake myself as well. Thank you. Thanks, Deepak, Hemant, MP, Dennis. Thank you. Brilliant. So don't, as I said, I'm going to give you full picture. So this is where you do Python. Again, depending on if you're a developer, learn in and out about not just generic Python, but Python for AI, machine learning, data engineer. There's libraries are different, slightly different. So Pandas, PySpark, NumPy, Matplotlib, Plotly. These are the things that you should be doing from especially these parts. Now, again, it says 8 weeks. You don't need to do 8. This I'm talking about 1 or 2 hours every day. So again, depending on, it can be done quickly as well. And then understand the basics about Python, install them, play with that. There are labs and projects are given. Actually go and implement that Python from for data engineers, targeted of data engineers, and so on. And then also, we give you the entire interview questions so that you know what kind of interview questions you can expect in Python. If there is a role about expectation is, you should know Python then in that case, how to do questions as well. Now, again, we've shown earlier those parts. Now this DevOps, MLOps, again, you should have a basic broad overview, whatever role you are, if you're leadership, architect, developer, administrator, you have to have the idea about this. And then if you're if you're a sysadmin, operations, DevOps person, then you go deeper about that. Understanding about CI/CD pipelines, how do you do AI ops, how do you model versioning, how do you store the models in a in like Git-like repository. It's not actually Git, but then Git-like repository we'll see in a minute. DVC, which is called data version control. So you need to control your not just model, but the underlying data, because data can impact how the model behaves. So data and model needs to be tied together on how to do that in DVC and so on. So understand these as well. And then how do you manage them? Will tools like Splunk, Datadog, or third-party tools like CloudWatch, Infinite Cloud, AWS, Azure have their own tools as well, and so on. So tools like, as I said, right from data collection to data cleansing to training the data model, deployment, improving performance. There are multiple tools. You don't need to learn all of them. Begin with maybe MLflow or Kubeflow. They're hugely popular open source, MLflow or Kubeflow. And then maybe GitHub Action. And then depending on DVC, if you're doing data, as I said, the version controlling. DexHub, another one. SageMaker and machine learning, Docker and Kubernetes for deploying underlying infrastructure, and so on. So this is again a MLOps mastery. I'm not going to go here deeper again, but as I said, understand the MLOps fundamental, but model versioning and machine learning MLflow. Model versioning is important. How do you version control? The way you version control your code, you version control the models. Then underlying data with DVC. And then how do you create a repository to store so that multiple teams can work together? And then how do you do auto ML or no code, low code, especially you're not a developer and so on. And then explanatory and audibility. How do you, oh gosh, I think my machine is playing up. So explanatory and audibility are like auditing of that, how a model reached to a conclusion, I can reverse engineer and back based on what terminology I'm doing, and so on. And then again, as I said, for CI/CD implementation, and then deep checks. These are all security and performance and so on, all of those, doing MLOps on Azure, AWS, and so on. And then again, these are the hands-on lab for MLOps we recommend, right from, and this is exact, sorry for that, guys. I don't know what's happening today. So this is all about hands-on lab and project work, right from, actually, this is how this is being done, and we track everything that you're actually implementing using the 13 labs as well. So, and then you go for, so this is MLOps as well. And then you go for AWS certification. If you want to do, again, as I said, is don't fall in the trap of certification. Once you've understood this, then you can go for certification, AI practitioner, machine learning, or machine learning specialist. We give you all the exam questions of all the certifications. You don't need to worry. There's no second guessing. And within probably 2 or 3 weeks, you should be able to clear your certification if you've done the heavy lifting, which is the actual practical implementation work. Now, I'm going to go very high level on labs. So again, within lab, I'm going to give you high level categories and then go deeper into that. So first, you need to have the basic understanding of how to use cloud. So you do some basic labs on connecting and setting up alarms, billing, and so on. But then you begin with machine learning or AI, Jupyter notebooks, using console. How do you do data analysis? How do you do the basic machine learning algorithms using the SageMaker, which is a tool. But with SageMaker, you also use TensorFlow, Jupyter, notebooks, pandas, libraries, machine learning libraries. These are labs which I'm going to share the PDF tomorrow so that you don't need to do any guessing. We'll share this whole PDF so you don't need to remember or don't need to take any screenshots here. We'll give you that PDF on these labs. Then, so this is a machine learning, but then you also need to do generative AI, which means using Bedrock, another service in Bedrock. So how do you enable Bedrock? How do you use playgrounds? How do you do the Bedrock for prompt engineering? And within prompt engineering, there are different prompt engineering types: zero shot, one shot, chain of thoughts, more advanced prompt engineering. And then how do you do it for chatbots or question answers, code generation, image generation, storytelling, code development, and so on? And then how do you use using LangChain? And then different type of LLMs that you probably might be using as well. Now, as I said, you get entire AI ML with all the certifications. Again, more important is Python, PySpark, other things, ML ops as well. So this is one track. And then similarly, you go for Azure certification for AI ML, AI fundamental, AI 102, which is Azure AI engineer, AI 102, and data scientist, which is DP 100 as well. Again, you get all the sample exam questions. So there's no guessing and you know what to expect in the exam. And before you go to the exam, you have done multiple times the practice, so you know how to clear these certifications as well. Now, within AI, again, on Microsoft Azure, Azure has an open AI service. It's another portal. Use that using Azure OpenAI Studio. And then there's a new one now come, Azure AI Foundry. So you should be using that as well. So how do you create, similar to what you have generative AI Bedrock there, here you have Azure OpenAI in Azure. So do some labs around leveraging that OpenAI service to build my generative AI based applications. And now these days they are done through Azure AI Foundry, that is single interface. So things are changing very, very fast. Now, the way you done on AWS, once you understand the prompt engineering concept like temperature, top P, again, I'm not going to go in detail right now here, but you understand once you do you'll understand those points as well here. And then how do you leverage the models like Tele model, or there's a now you see DeepSeek is there, that's available to Microsoft. Azure the OpenAI, ChatGPT, OpenAI models, Anthropic models, all those models that are available, Llama, or for example, Facebook, how do you leverage them inside your and then integrate with RAG, a lot of other things, integrations you do. And then so this is all about AI, generative AI, and then you go for certification specific hands-on lab for AI 900, AI 102, and then these are for DP 100, which is data science, little bit detail on data science as well on here. So this is again Azure AI ML with all the things that we do, which help you with getting certified on Azure AI ML as well. And with that, you also do then some projects. Now again, you don't do all of them. As the client requires, the job description comes, you do that particular project for that particular client for interview. So just one project as per the job description that you're doing. So project for, as I said, industry-wise, finance, tech, telecom, and so on. I hope you understand the concept as well on point. So this is all about, in a nutshell, about AI. Any questions on this one? It's very comprehensive, but again, as I said, don't make mistake of doing everything in one go. Yes, Net, I'm going to share the PPTs as well. Yeah, I'll be sharing. Correct. Absolutely right, Net. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Yes, it is. You've already enrolled for, yeah, brilliant. Okay. Any questions, guys, so far? Any questions? Oh, how do you go about picking which role would you try, whether it's cloud, AWS, DevOps engineer? Now, Raven, gone were the days where you say, I want to work on cloud, but I'm going to pick up DevOps or, okay. Companies don't look for just AWS. They're looking for, that's why I'm saying they're looking for multi-cloud. So don't go with just one cloud, go with multiple skills. You can't have just one skill and get survive in this current market. Yeah. Okay. So Deepak, what are the courses available on? So Deepak, we're stopping doing now Azure or something. We're doing AI. So just understand from here. So there's one track which is about AI, which I said. Okay. Sure. Maybe we'll able to ask questions and that's brilliant. Okay, I think that makes sense. Okay, so this is one. Now you have a second data track about data engineer, data analyst, data architect. You do the same thing. anyone who's a data working on data, you identify the data job role. So maybe a data engineer, data architect, data analyst, data scientist, business intelligence, sorry, BI analyst, data operations manager, data cloud data engineer, data integrations, data scientist, reporting, compliance officer, and so on. So I'll take a minute here to see which role of data you'll be picking on here, if there is any data guys here. Yes, correct, Hemant. There are TensorFlow, but TensorFlow alone is not enough. Yeah. How this course can be helpful to DB like me? We'll talk about the specific cases. Anyone here, guys? Anyone on data? I'll quickly move on here from a data. So you do the same thing, identify the data job role, and then look at and search for whatever job role you're picking. And now if you see now here, they're looking for a data engineer with DevOps. So you need to do not just data engineer, but DevOps, looking for CI/CD pipeline, containerization. So you do and learn a little bit of infrastructure as a code, data pipelines, Python, SQL, ETL, AWS, GitLab CI, data. So pick up these, write down, prepare on these, and then you begin with data for beginners. So things like database, data concepts, Medellin architecture. You also have SQL, ETL, data warehousing, data lake, lake house, data mesh, all these things, Git, how the Git is being implemented on for data projects as well. So data for beginners. And then from there, you also do PySpark, which is Python plus Spark. With that, you also go and do, of course, Python, as I mentioned earlier. So Python will be applicable for if you're working as a data developer or data engineer on here. If you go on ETL developer as well on coding, extending the data. So same Python here, but then you do data on AWS cloud. So things like S3 is a storage. So there are different type of storage. One of them is S3, that which you build a lake house. So you do and work on those S3 buckets. Then there's a SQL database services like DynamoDB, RDS for Oracle, RDS for Microsoft SQL, RDS for open source, a lot of those. And then the compute for data engineering. And what I mean by compute is CPU and memory. How do you build the application, database-based applications on for data engineers using DynamoDB, Lambda, and so on. And then you also do containers, because you're going to deploy some applications like on EKS, Elastic Kubernetes Service, and then analytics-related services like Glue, Athena, Kinesis. How do you do data transfer, streaming, batch processing jobs on analytics services? And then integration services, how do you integrate with step-up functions, Lambda? There is a predefined services like simple notification service, simple queue service, CloudWatch, notification, and so on. And then compliance, security, compliance. How do you secure the data? So there is a security like KMS service, firewall, and the encryption keys to store the data, and so on. Okay, and then you have governance and management and governance as well. And then you do certification like practitioner, cloud practitioner, solution architect, and data engineer. Solution architect will give you the full picture about cloud, and then data engineer will then go and double down on the data specific. You can directly go for data as well, but having a solution architect will help you to do the data engineering much, much better. Making sense? Put it in chat window. Is it making sense? Is it all good? Cloud data engineer Manohar, yes. Is it all making sense? Raven, we are going to cover that. Are the jobs are fully remote or hybrid? You can mix of them, Raven. So the question is, do I get a remote job? There are remote jobs and there is an online job as well. Both are available. Okay. Guys, put the chat window. Is it all making sense? I'll take a minute. Okay, we are on top of the hour. I'll take 15 more minutes if that's okay with everyone. Clear? Okay, yes. Okay. Brilliant. Okay, so then something similar, you go and do again certifications. We give you tons of certification exam questions, so there's no guessing. Heavy lifting is all done for you. And then go for migration. You need to know how to migrate my databases and data from on-premise to cloud. So we do for in and out for AWS and do the same thing for Microsoft Azure Cloud as well. So migrations, there's a 7R migration framework. So earlier there was 6R, then there's a now 7th one R added on 7R migrations. So do migration, hands-on labs, migrating data and database from on-premise to cloud. And then, of course, interview questions related to migration. Now, something similar, you go and search for, there are a lot of Azure data job roles, like Azure Databricks, Azure Data Factory, Azure Lakehouse. Then there's Azure now new service came, which is Microsoft Fabric. And then they're also looking for DevOps lifecycle, Git, Jenkins. I think DevOps is all becoming inbuilt integration. So you look for data job. So again, same thing you do, but data related services. I'll explain you in a minute what these services are, data related certifications. So you begin with Azure basic services, but explore SQL databases, non-related databases like storage account, ADLS or Cosmos DB, and then do data analytics on here. So data analytics, Microsoft has Power BI, and then Microsoft also has now Fabric, which is Power BI is building into Microsoft Fabric. So real time as well as batch streaming analytics as well. Then you have Azure core services to build your database based applications like storage, networking, compute, and then management and monitoring of those data solutions. Then security, about security of those data services. 1 second, sorry. And then once you have done these basic, then you go for DP700, which is Microsoft Fabric Data Engineer. In past, there used to be a certification called DP203, which is all about that has been now retired, and the new certification, which is DP700, has come now. So we'll be learning for Microsoft Fabric is a new platform for data engineers on Microsoft Azure Cloud. So you do those, and then implementing Apache Spark, which is a big data Hadoop Apache Spark open source implementation Microsoft Azure Cloud. They also have Synapse databases, Synapse, and so on. So you implement Databricks. As I said, so implement Azure Databricks implementation on Microsoft Azure Cloud. And then there's a Power BI, DAX, reporting, all the analytics guys. If you're working on analyst, then you'll be working on these hands-on labs environments as well. Now I said I'm going to, also another thing is if you're working as an architect, then you should be or data architect, then disaster recovery, backup and restore, security, pay attention to those and do some labs so that you can show it on your project and saying, this is what you think you have done here. And then do the certifications for data fabric and data engineers as well. Now, because of time, I'm not going deeper. We'll give you these slides, but Fabric is a data platform. Make sure that because Fabric has now integrations with Git, also Lakehouse, your data, as your data factory and so on that you have. Okay, and then you do the projects for using AWS Glue, Athena, Kinesis, and then Power BI, the data factory, DAX, Power BI, and so on, and then do one industry-specific project on here. So that's phase 2 for data part, and final one will be the cloud. Just to let me know that you're still here. You're not multitasking. Type word here, type word I'm here, or just word here. Yes, here, brilliant. Okay, superb. Okay, thanks. So next is third and final thing is about cloud and DevOps. And earlier we used to have separate. We are merging this because there's a very thin line now between companies expect DevOps to know cloud and cloud guys to know DevOps. So cloud and DevOps, and this is where you begin with on cloud and DevOps, different type of job roles. I'll take a minute here to pause and tell me if you're working on a cloud, which cloud role you're going to pick. Is it cloud engineer, cloud architect, cloud solution architect, security, DevOps, infrastructure engineer, or cloud automation engineer, cloud data engineer, cloud system administrator? Which one you're picking here? Cloud solution architect. I think there are a couple of guys who are any cloud administrator, any cloud automation engineer, infrastructure migration. Yes. Okay, brilliant. Yeah. So let's look into here. So always cloud for beginners. No doubt you have to learn, as I said at the start as well. The basics are very, very important for you to understand because that's where you'll understand integrations, especially around the deployment models. Okay. Then you go for AWS for beginners. This is where it should not take for more than a day to understand all the basic services in AWS, right from the networking to storage to compute to databases to the infrastructure monitoring, infrastructure automation. And then this is very important. How do you do regions, availability zones, and to a level of rack as well? Because when you're deploying highly available active or active passive solutions, having a knowledge about global infrastructure, how data centers are built, how the availability zones are, those are very, very important. So On one day, you can understand the basic overview, 30,000-foot view. Once you do the similar thing on Microsoft Azure Cloud. There's subtle differences, but you understand networking, storage, compute, same thing on but Microsoft Azure Cloud. And then how do you do the differentiation between map between, like for example, think of it as you have BMW and Mercedes, two cars. So both has minor subtle difference, but if you know one, picking up another will be very, very easy. So make sure that you have the basic understanding of that. And then you go and do DevOps mastery. We'll go on AWS and Azure, but DevOps mastery like Linux basics. Git, again, depending on what role you're playing, maybe you go high level, or if you're working as a DevOps engineer, go deeper into these things. So Git, Linux, Jenkins, Ansible, Docker, Kubernetes, Terraform, and then CI/CD using AWS Cloud. CI/CD using Microsoft Azure Cloud. So Azure has Azure CI/CD pipeline. AWS has AWS pipelines, CI/CD pipelines. Then you have a Jenkins thirds open source. You also have a GitOps and GitLabs as well. So then you do labs around shell scripting, bash. Again, you don't need to do all of them depending on the role you're playing. You might be want to set a end-to-end CI/CD using Jenkins with Git, GitHub, actions, and so on. Then you might be want to do Jenkins, and then you do Docker and Kubernetes. Sorry, Docker and Kubernetes, which is containers. Think of it like a VM for deploying your microservices. I think yesterday we saw Gokul was talking about containers and Kubernetes, hugely, tons of jobs. Now, when you're deploying machine learning models, a lot of these machine learning models are also deployed using containers and Kubernetes. So it's good to have Docker and Kubernetes knowledge. And then you do Ansible for configuration management, Terraform for infrastructure provisioning, DevOps, like building CI/CD pipeline. You pick one of them as well. And then you do as AWS DevOps and Terraform for infrastructure automation. And then observability, which is monitoring and logging using Prometheus, Grafana. There's an open source ELK stack. Each of these cloud provider comes with their own monitoring and management, logging and configuration management. But then you should also do monitoring and logging. You should also have the knowledge about, because a lot of companies want to do open source now, Prometheus and Grafana are using as well. Is it all making sense, guys? Or is it going over the board? Just give me the genuine opinion. Is it making sense? Okay, very good question. Deepak is saying, if you're doing senior project manager, how much would we do? So no. So if you're doing senior project management role, you're not doing a lot of labs. You should have the basic understanding of that you need to do these things that someone needs to be doing. So you need to have a broad overview and understanding about Deepak. You're not doing these labs as a project manager. Okay, if you're doing senior project management roles, you need to know that someone needs to take care of CI/CD, someone needs to take care of storage, networking, and these roles, but you're not doing. Okay, Deepak, good question. Okay, so with that, let's move on the projects. Now you can pick one or two projects depending on, use Argo CD, which is to deploy Kubernetes-based applications on Kubernetes cluster, or maybe do Azure DevOps automation or containers application on Azure Kubernetes or AWS Kubernetes, or maybe do end-to-end infrastructure automation deployment using Terraform on Microsoft Azure Cloud or AWS Cloud, or migrate a monolithic application to microservices. Now, again, as I said, you only need to do the project if a company is asking about that particular, for example, they're saying, I'm looking for an automation engineer, then you do automation. Or otherwise do a very basic Terraform automation script, and then you say that you know and learn on the job as once you get deeper into those points. So this is about DevOps. And then finally, if you're going for system administration, then Linux, but very basic Linux. Don't go deeper these days now. Very basic Linux command. If you're working as a system administrator, Unix administrator, then Linux. If you're working in automating, then Terraform. If you're working as then Terraform or infrastructure, and then you do automate using Terraform, AWS Cloud, Azure Cloud, Kubernetes, anything that you do, even your AI machine learning models, and so on. And then for Kubernetes, understand what is containers and Kubernetes for beginners, even if you're AI and machine learning, because machine learning models being deployed on Kubernetes cluster. And then, so this is a track we do for AWS Cloud, right? From identity and access management to storage, to compute, to auto scaling, load balancers, network, CloudWatch and CloudTrail for monitoring and management, databases. This I was talking about for data engineers, Kinesis Analytics, This is for simple queue service. Lambda, which is serverless. This is for automation, cloud formation. Beanstalk, underlying platform to deploy your applications. And there's something called a well-architected framework or cloud adoption framework. Both AWS and Azure has a set guidelines. So if you're working as an architect, you should be doing those CAFs. And then how do you set up high availability and disaster recovery, active, and active passive? And then migrating applications to databases to cloud. You do it in AWS cloud, something similar on Microsoft Azure cloud. So again, I'm not going to go here. Labs, tons and tons of lab. We'll share the screenshot, also the PDF, so you don't need to worry about anything. And then do these labs. Oh, 1 second, sorry. So these all AWS cloud labs. And then Kubernetes on AWS. So there is a Kubernetes for open source, but then Kubernetes implementation on AWS cloud, Elastic Kubernetes service. Oh, sorry guys, I don't know what's happening with my PC today. I think it's, yeah. So Kubernetes implementation of AWS, which is EKS. So you need to know how to deploy EKS and then application on top of that. And then integration with storage, integration with networking, if the project demands EKS. And then these are the hands-on lab and project work for EKS. Now, something similar on containers and Kubernetes on Azure, you implement, which is called as Azure Kubernetes Service, AKS. So do hands-on lab related to AKS and then deploy application on AKS. If you're doing DevOps, pick just one certification, whether it's DevOps Foundation or DevOps Engineer on AWS or DevOps on Microsoft Azure or Docker or Kubernetes. Again, we give you all the sample exam questions. These are the guys who have done the certifications. It's quite easy and simple. There's tons and tons of guys who have done the certifications. So again, keep repeating. Certification is easy. Just follow the exam questions, and as long as you have the knowledge, certification becomes very, very easy. We'll give you all the certification exam questions and so on as well. And then do something similar for Azure DevOps, AZ400, Azure DevOps as well. Now, in this track also, in for cloud, you need to have the good migration knowledge. And someone who's asking about project manager, if you're a project manager, you need to know how the migration works, because as a part of cloud implementation, you'll be doing some part of migration. So what are the migration services? How does migration work? Networking, the data transfer, the data, how does the data will transfer from on-premise to cloud, how the security will happen. All those things should be incorporated on migrations, and do the hands-on lab for a migration as well. So just to do a quick recap on in terms of from going from no confidence, you learn, become confident when you actually implement the things as per the job description. Again, you don't need to learn all of them, only as per the job description, and then do one certification, relevant certification. And you should be able to achieve that probably in as quickly as minimum 4 weeks to anywhere from 4 to 12 weeks. And within 4 to 12 weeks, you should be start applying for the interviews. How does that thought comes to your mind when I say within 4 to 6 weeks, 4 to 8, 6 weeks, you should be start applying for the interviews, even if before you're ready? Just put the chat window, yes or no. What do you feel about it? When I say apply for the jobs within 4 to 6 weeks, even before you're ready, with the methods, yes, positive, great. Just 2 of you, yes. Anyone who doesn't think or still feel nervous? Correct. Yes. Brilliant. Okay. So once you do, but also when you're applying, make sure that you follow the ATS compliance and then optimize your LinkedIn. These are 2. If you're not getting interview call, this is the problem. Your either resume not proper, not enough written. Make sure you watch day 2 again, and then LinkedIn, which I'm going to cover. I think I'll record the video and or maybe a follow-up session on optimizing LinkedIn. And then once you start getting interview call, don't worry about even if you're not ready. Go rough, maybe fail on a couple of interviews. That'll teach you a lot of lessons. And then finally, of course, this will come and happen as well. Now, so this was just so technical I've given you. I'll give the screenshot, but make sure that you have someone to cover and do the reviews about resume. So those who are already members, make sure that on a weekly basis, we run 2 or 3 resume clinic every week. So you come and ask about your feedback on resumes if you're not getting interview calls. Follow this. These are screenshots of the recordings. So you go and watch the previous week's recordings on here as well. Now, this was talking about build authority. This is key point. Come back here and let me know and tell me I'm here. This is the key I'm going to give you. Put the chat window and say, I'm here. I'm giving you the crux about here. Yes, only one person. Put the chat window. I want everyone to be involved here and say, this is key. I'm here. Yes. Good. So every time you do a lab or project work, we have a mandate. Every person will go and write about what they've done in that project and that lab, hands-on lab of the project. And not write, oh, just I've done a lab. No, don't write that. Write exactly, and we given the guidelines. And if you're inside the program, you will get the guidelines. Write down something like this, which is Joshua. I really love that. This is what you do. You tell a problem statement. So you're going and building as an authority, someone who has already done it and doing and helping others to implement. So saying today, one of my clients reached out to me. They have a building challenge, and this, and then what you did to solve the problem, and his recommendations, and what services they've used, and everything that you've done. So you've learned that. So we have a lab about how to, if you get some billing alerts and alarms, how do you set that problem? How do you solve that problem? So take a different spin on that project and on that and write down on LinkedIn about that. And you'd repeat it every week for different problems or different hands-on lab and different project you're doing, so that you start building your authority. So when I'm coming for interview and I see your LinkedIn profile and I look at you, wow, it looks like Joshua has done some work. So Joshua is part of program, and this is what we recommend for every lab. We say now go and post based on, and we reward those who do this, and that's how you build your authority on that on your LinkedIn. Does it make sense? And say, I'm going to do this, I'm going to follow this. If you've done one takeaway today, make sure you do this as well. Are you doing this? Does it make sense? Are you doing this? Yes, type yes or no if you're doing this. And if not, say, I promise I'm going to do this, follow this. No? Okay. Yeah, it's okay, John, but start following. Yes, MP, Deepak, MD. So one or two takeaways these are important things. And this is how you build. So when you go, your half battle on the interview is won much before you go for interview. So once I know your resume looks good, your LinkedIn looks good, now you're posting constantly on LinkedIn, and over the next 1 or 2 months, you'll have around 8 to 10 good posts where written like that. You look like an authority. You look like someone who knows the stuff as well. So this is key point. Okay. So not only this, then so there's a dedicated training inside the program, how to build authority, what to write, all the things, and then also the more content, how do you post, how the frequency and all those things go deeper into. Also, there's a LinkedIn profile review. Take help on reviewing of your profile if you're not getting interview calls as well inside that. And this is exactly what we see. And this is what people say. I did my homework, updated my LinkedIn profile, and as soon as I did that, I got tons and tons of emails, job prospects. Now, I think, yeah, another one, Vivek here. My first round of interview with 2 companies have been confirmed. I think this is fine. I wanted to show LinkedIn. Yeah. Then you have a job clinic. Also, come and prepare for job preparation. So you come and see. I'll be there in the sessions. My team will be there. We bring other experts like Gokul Yuso. We have 200 plus freelancers depending on your level, so that we can bring you on mock interviews and job clinic as well. And this is the second part of that, which is about that you see about LinkedIn and optimizing LinkedIn part as well. And then third part that begin with is about interview confidence, which is mock interview, both technical and behavioral. And this is the third part that we begin, which is mock interviews. So you go for AI and machine learning mock interviews. We give you technical questions. We give you the scenario-based questions. We give you leadership-related questions. We give you the questions depending on the job description that you could. So you could write from a deployment of models to data processing to the real-time scenarios, the model monitoring, auto ML, security, privacy, technical questions, um, and so on. Similarly, then there's a data related questions, right, from a storage, networking, storage, real-time analytics, and so on. So the interview question based on your background, based on the job description you get. Similarly for cloud DevOps, cloud, and questions, scenario-based questions as well. Just an example of your team needs to set up an automated deployment pipeline on a web application on AWS. What are the steps you might be doing to set up that automated pipeline? Just an example, or what situation you might have done, and so on, and so on. So do you do? And this is what, if you follow this, this is from Omar. I've just done my final interview with the coffee. I was walking out of the interview. The hiring manager offered me a job, and he's been out of job for 10 months. I know it's been tough 10 months. Honestly, thank you for being guiding, supporting. It's been hard 10 months, but at least to say I'm looking forward for the sessions provided. So this is again going from 10 months of struggle to being finally job offered as well. Imagine for a minute you're out of job for 10 months. How does it feel to you? Just think and imagine for a minute, guys. Again, I hope none of you are in that situation, but if you are, please make sure you implement those changes, suggestions which I've done as well. Again, with Oksana, Atisha from my team, she's here in the call as well. I just wanted to thank up for the last mock-up interview, passed my technical interview, waiting for the final one as well. Obina, another one. Hey, Karthik from my team. Obina recently got an offer here. Okay, so that's third part, but your journey doesn't end here. Actual journey starts when you get a job. So we do 1 month on-job support for everyone. So we used to do a longer one. It takes a lot of effort and do. So we've reduced it down to 1 month now because it takes lots and lots of tons and tons of effort for doing on-job support. So we provide you 1 month on-job support once you get a job as well. So that there's an easy ride hand holding for you to you get it as well. So this is the path you do. We work with you on doing a triage, understanding your situation because every person is different. So in 1 week, we take it to based on your background, we give a plan for you and you work on that plan over the next 6 months. And within objective is for you to go from, if you're under 120, go 120K. If you're under high between 120 to 180, hit 180. If you're 180 and plus, hit 250. And we keep repeating the same process, which is about this process. And once you get one level, you keep going next level, next level, next level as well. So what you do, you begin with one of these, any one of these, and then focus on your resume and LinkedIn, and then mock interviews, practical implementations. And once you get a job, and then repeat the whole process one after another. Keep repeating it till you hit the level you want. And that's the whole game I've been playing here as well. So this is a path which I mentioned. I'm going to repeat it again. I'm going to repeat it. I said tons and tons of guys like SJ, I mentioned on day one, doubled their salary. Shrija, from struggling to job in Canada to landed a job in AIML. To Shavik, enterprise architect. To Hari, lead data engineer. To Kennedy, several failed attempts and failed major challenges in using CI/CD pipelines. To now, final interview with offer accepted as technical advisor position. To Yash, 6 jobs as a data engineer. To Vaishali, I mentioned yesterday about multiple interviews, able to excel in multiple of interviews. Desired job role in 30 days. Shruti here, I've secured a job as data engineer, mid-senior role. Joby, this was Australia, moved from US to Australia. Recently moved to Australia, was challenging, looking for a job, and then started getting back-to-back interviews, and within 2 weeks, finally result in a job offer. Another one here, as I said, I think I mentioned that earlier. But Sean recently accepted a well-paid job in AWS Cloud Architect, been unemployed for last 7 months. Nazif joined June, received a job offer in September, and have tons and tons of guys. So you need an inspiration, go to k2academy.com/reviews, and you'll see. Now, if, as I said, any of you are interested to go and work, so I'll give you the sheet. You can take it with you and implement yourself. But if you need our help to hit 250K, there's an application, and only we're accepting 21 guys. So go to this document, which is k2academy.com/offer, k2academy.com/offer, and then you go and fill that, go through this sheet. At the bottom of that, there'll be a document or link. I'm going to show it to you now in a minute here. So if you go to the URL, k2academy.com/offer. Now, guys, this is only for the guys who are really serious, and it's not free. I just want to be open and transparent. There's a time commitment of a couple of hours every week, and then also working very closely with me and with my team on a personalized roadmap, personalized plan, so that we hit you earning 180. We have 3 levels: 120, 120 to 180, and 180 to 250. And my role is to hit you as quickly as to the one level so that you come back again for the next level with us. So go through this document, k2academy.com/offer, scroll down, check everything thoroughly. And once if you think is right fit for you, book a call with my team by going to this URL, click here. by going to this URL, k20academy.com/AIDC. So k20academy.com, but make sure that you follow the document AIDC on this URL. We only have limited seats, and I only have one person who will be taking the questions and asking questions and understanding about you. And if we think that we can help you, we'll guide you and tell you this is how we help. And then you can take a call whether you want to work with us or not. So just click on the time appropriate, whatever time is appropriate, click on this and fill your name, email address, and then make sure that you specify go as detailed as possible so that we can understand and help you before we jump on the call. What is your current situation? How does your desired situation look like? Now, then also write down what kind of a salary you're currently and what kind of a salary you want to hit, because I don't want someone to have and say I'm on a 60K and I want to hit 250K. Unrealistic. So, but definitely below, between 120, whatever you are, hit that particular level. And then again, as I said, this is not free. There's a investment required, but promises that you'll get 10 times of what you're investing for sure. But I also need to know your LinkedIn profile, because without LinkedIn, it'll not be possible to see if we can help you or not, because I want to see. And if you don't have a LinkedIn, please don't submit. We'll not be accepting you. So if you don't have a LinkedIn profile, don't come and don't join the don't, because you need to have a LinkedIn profile, and you need to have someone who's already a little bit of awareness, because I'm only accepting the serious guys who are actually have started on this journey. So fill this form, and as I said, my team will be there to help and understand you and tell you. Now, everything which I mentioned comes with confidence. It's 60 days, but don't join if you're not ready to do the work, because if you're going to come for guarantee, or which you should be, I'll ask you to take the action. Because without taking action, you'll not get a result. So I'll be asking you to apply for the jobs. We'll giving you serious homework, but we'll align you. And the guarantee is that you will make 10 times your investment for sure. And I'll not leave anyone till you make 10 times your investment in the program. And if you don't, then you have a guarantee, but you need to do and work, because I really working with only serious guys, because I only have limited slots and my success rate is 93%. My objective is to hit this in next quarter, 95%, that success rate, which means out of every 100, 95 get the result. Only the 5% or right now 7%, 7 guys don't get the result. And majority of time, they don't know how to do the work. And if you are one of those who don't know how to do the work, please don't come into the program as well. So we only 21 seats, personalized application only invitation on for 250K job. So URL, k20academy.com/AIDC. I'm going to pick up the questions now here as well on, yeah. So my team, if you can give me the questions, and we'll be picking the questions, we'll be unmuting as well. Also, let me know any feedback you have for me to improve on that. We are 30 minutes over, but I'll be able to spend 5 minutes. We'll be spending 5 minutes as well. Mariam is saying, do you recommend to AWS beginner level or AI level to jump faster? Jobs are in both. Srini, jobs are in both, whether it's AWS or AI. Both has, again, don't limit again just for AWS. Go for cloud. Don't limit just one cloud. Go for, if you really want job quickly, go for one cloud. Go with full track. Now, I used to do programs separately. We're going to merge those things. What we realized is that you are missing a lot of opportunities on not doing multi-cloud. And I want people to have the biggest impact. If you're working, work a little bit better. Yeah. You're out of job for 1 year, Srini. That's shucks. Okay. I think both has jobs. I think I need to understand your background. Yeah. Tess, yeah, please. Okay. So the question is, my company is picking up. Sure. So I think let's do one thing. Let's take 5 minutes question answers. Will be hard stop. And that's where you need to submit the form if you need any questions. I'm going to pick up. My company is migrating to GCP, like GCP product and REST APIs. But most of the content here is more AWS. Does taking the 6 months course helps? Yeah, so we do have a GCP program, but I'm not focusing on ENS. I'm not focusing on GCP. I'm only focusing on AWS and Azure, because GCP job roles are less. So we are not talking about GCP. And if you're coming for GCP, I don't think you should be coming at the program. Only if you're AWS and Azure, then yes. Yeah. Yeah, Kunal, we're going to put your hand up, guys. And Atisha, is it something you can help?
Yes, sir. Candidates are able to unmute themselves.
Okay, Kunal, over to you. I have
Hi, how are you,
literally
sir?
4 more minutes. Yeah, Kunal, over to you, please. Yeah,
I just have one question. So
sure.
just about myself, so I had last year done a business analyst boot camp um with someone else here in Canada. So in the boot, I am currently stuck because I don't know which way to go. I have been trying to. Initially said they will help me, but they're not helping. And I am. They help. Like I have a LinkedIn profile, everything, but um, I'm not getting any interviews, and I'm stuck in terms of what I should do. Like
So Kunal,
learning
if you're
about
not
your.
no, so if you're not getting interview calls, go to the job portal, write
Mhm.
exactly what you written in the job description, and write down in your resume.
Okay,
As long as you want to do that work, don't write down if you don't want, because for example, I don't like coding. So if a coding job comes, I don't apply for that. But anything like architect role, anything when I was working on cloud, anything that anyone is asking about AWS cloud, I've written everything because I wanted to learn everything. Doesn't matter, right?
right.
So write down everything with the promise that you're going to learn everything. Write down in the resume exactly what they're asking, and update your LinkedIn profile as well with the promise that I'm going to learn everything. And that's what committed you should be. And if you're not, then give up. Don't do any of that.
Just one.
Sure.
Just to add on to that. So as a BA, um, now with your the AI program in your coaching, right? With the coaching, and if I was wanted to, I would like to join. Um, having BA knowledge, is that a good foundation for me to start with this program?
I'll change you completely. Rather than BA, I would put AI consultant.
Okay, that's
The reason being is, first of all, you get a, if you're learning something, let's learn which will give you good money and for future as
right.
well. Okay.
Absolutely.
As a AI consultant, you can always go to BA role. Okay.
Thank you
But
so
from BA
much.
to a consultant, do. So I would change completely and go for AI consultant. And then anything with AI related to terminology, I'll become an expert in AI. Okay. Whatever AI consultancy is a very generic word, which is good, which means you can
Hmm.
play any role in that. And you should be prepared to do anything comes. I'm going to double down. So then you focus on one area, which is AI consultant. Okay. And then double down on that AI consultants as an AI consultant. So whatever job comes which says AI, as long
Mhm.
as not coding, because you should not be doing coding, because if you're from a
No,
BA, okay.
yes,
But anything else like providing consultancy, which means I am a bridge between the business and the tech guys.
makes
That's the role
sense.
of a
Uh,
consultant. And it's kind of a BA as well, but BA will you will limit if you do a BA, you'll be limiting to industry. I don't want to limit you in
thank
a particular industry. Got it?
that makes sense. Thank you so much.
No worries. Okay. So it looks like there's no
So
other
to
questions.
just one last thing to apply. So I click on the link with the offer and then go from
Okay,
there,
sure. I'll
or
explain you. Yeah, I'll explain you. So understand. So that offer is mainly to understand what role you are, so you'll get a clarity on which role you're doing. So understand what exactly we're doing. So k2academy.com/offer. You can directly go on as well, but I want people to, when they come, they know, and because you have understood, you have attended the boot camp, you know. But typically we go and explain. So k2academy.com/offer. You can go to directly URLs. I'll explain you. So 1 second. So see, to go, what exactly is this program about? What the phase is, and understand picture. But as I said, I think because I know now, and those who are coming boot camp, you already know the process and so on. So this is what we're going to do. So you read this, and below at the bottom there'll be a link on this, which is called as book a call now at the bottom. Okay, or you can go to k2academy.com/AIDC. AIDC. Hit enter, and you'll come into the same page, which is clicking here. Okay.
thank you so much.
Okay. Our time is up. Chris, I'll take one final question and then we'll wrap it up this, please. Okay. Over to you, Chris, if you can unmute. Ravind, sorry, I think I have to close this today. You submit a form and then do, or submit your question okay, Chris, over to you. Unmute yourself, please.
Hello?
Yep, Chris.
Okay, fine. If you have a website, maybe you have a website or maybe like a company you are running and you are the one overseeing it, is it good to put it in your resume?
depends on what role you're doing in the company and what is the actual company, what exactly you're going to do as on the other company. So if you're going for a permanent job and if you're running your own company, then
Okay.
then me as employer will think, oh, you're coming for a full-time job, but you're your own company. Are you going to focus on the job or are you going to focus on your company?
Okay.
You got the point, Chris, what I'm saying? So if you're going for a
Yes,
permanent job,
yes.
then I wouldn't recommend that doing. But if you're working as a
Okay.
freelancer or contractor, then by all means, yes, please do so.
All right. All right. Thank you.
No worries. Great. Okay, guys, we'll wrap it up on say question about course material. Revan, I see that portal seems to be video tutorial, but our video transcript into text form. Okay, so not every video is transcript in a text form, but at the video, bottom of the video, there is a summary and saying what you can expect in the video, Revan. If you're looking for every video should be transcribed to a text format, don't come into the program because it takes effort. So again, I'll be very transparent with you. We're going to go at a fast pace. But we're going to get results quickly. But if you're looking for every video should be on word by word text. No, but there is a summary on what to expect in the video and so on, and what are the key takeaways and information, because we lots and lots of material and lots of content. Okay, thank you guys. Thank you very, very much. And it was wonderful talking, and we'll keep an eye on your inbox emails. I'm going to pick up these questions over the next 2-3 days. Saturday, Sundays, Sunday, I'm not planning to do anything. Monday, I was supposed to be on holiday, but I'll pick up next week. Keep an eye on email. Also, the WhatsApp community. Keep that questions coming, and can't wait to help you. And those who book the call, give make sure that you submit it properly, especially the LinkedIn profile, so my team can help you as well. With that, big thank you.